weighing in Fights and Films.
Welcome to Weighing In Fights and Films. I am Brett the Threat with my cousin and co-host. Why are you reading? Women shouldn't read, then they'll start thinking.
Oh, Gaston, you are positively primeval. Primeval? Primordial.
Thank you.
We are reviewing the movie Beauty and the Beast, which we just came from. This version, not the cartoon version. It stars Emma Watson as Belle.
Gandalf is in it.
Gandalf, yeah, he's Cogsworth. Josh Gad, who is the voice of Olaf, is LeFou.
Yes.
Which I had a little trouble separating from. Every time he spoke, or especially when he sang, I was like, it's Olaf. Emma Thompson is Mrs. Potts. Stanley Tucci is the piano. Klein was Maurice, her father.
Right.
And I can't remember the dude's name that plays the Beast. I don't think it's that important. This movie pretty much is note for note, word for word, almost, the animated.
Yeah, the storyboard was different, the directing was different. In the beginning of the animated version, where the Beast he claws the painting.
Yeah.
So that's iconic moments in the first one. They include all of them. Yeah. In the animated one. And they added a couple of songs to it.
They added a couple songs and I was so disappointed. The Beast's big solo number there, okay, now we had water with us and I was wishing it would kick in, so I had to use the bathroom during this. Why the fuck did they change it from the Broadway version? The Broadway musical, The Beast, has a number that is absolutely beautiful and gorgeous, and they switched it to this piece of shit. Emma Watson as Belle.
She was good, but the singing from all the actors was just kind of eh.
Well, no,
it reminded me of La La Land.
La La Land?
Where like the actors were really singing and they just get it done. It doesn't blow you away.
I did like the Beast's voice as Beast. How they morphed it. Yeah. I thought they did a great job because I was worried about that. The Beast did turn out better than I expected because I was worried about that as well.
You talking about the CGI?
The CGI.
See, I thought the CGI wasn't as good. I thought his face was stiff, especially his clothes hardly had any wrinkles, and when he walked, no, it was very frozen. All of his clothing, and I didn't think his
frozen.
Right. Well, even when he spoke, his beard barely moved. Like Tully from Monsters Inc. was a furry monster, and like every time he moved, all the hairs moved. And in this one, it just seemed a little cheaper. The male costumes I loved.
Gaston's costuming, the Beast costuming, even with CGI, but even at the end when he was dancing.
It's the typical aristocratic, you know, the ruffles in the front and then the...
Well, no, but the seam work and tailoring and embroidery on the male costumes were beautiful.
I wouldn't be surprised if this movie eventually gets nominated for an Oscar for the costumes.
The female costumes had some good ones in there, but not on Emma Watson. Like, when she walks out in the blue Belle dress, why the hell were her bloomers showing? Like,
what's a bloomer?
The pants she had underneath. Like put your skirt down. That whole town seeing your business. She's supposed to be unlike the other ones that are throwing herself at Gaston, and here she is with her pants showing. Pissed me off.
That really irked you.
It really did. It really irked me. And then the yellow dress. Okay, so the costume designer wanted to make it similar to the one in the animated movie, but she wanted something more modern, so they put all these layers in. I'm sorry, it looked awful. As she's twirling around the thing, this looks like a fucking cheap prom dress going around the ballroom. And then as she runs out, as she's done with her dance, guess what all those layers do? They look like yellow rags spilling out of the rag bag. The dress was awful.
Wow.
The background, the backdrop and the scenery, because I know some of that was real, and a lot of that was CGI. That was beautiful, though. The backdrop was beautiful. I liked the background.
It was so big and heavy-handed, the backdrop. Everything was ornate.
This does take place in France, in French culture, even though everyone has an English accent. Except for Lumiere.
Well, they gotta speak English.
Well, no, you can speak English, but you can't, fucking Emma Watson sounded like right out of London.
Hey man, Gandalf could do whatever the hell he wants.
I'm not complaining about Gandalf, because I didn't know Ian McKellen was Cogsworth, so I was actually stoked when I saw that. I was like, oh my god, it's Gandalf. The lady that puts the curse on for his show, and I was like...
That's a new character they added, too,
No, they just expanded upon it.
Okay, they expanded upon it. If you have a chance to see this in 3D, see it in 3D, because this was shot as a 3D movie. It was meant to be a 3D movie because you can tell the scenes where like the teacup is flying at you and it comes by. They do like a sweeping like pan of the entire place and it goes by like some of the statues, you know what I mean?
But then the Be Our Guest sequence, I felt like I was in like a dark ride at Disney. So I even though it was very over the top, I had fun with it because I was like, oh, I'm back at Disney World.
You see, every song in this is not as good as the animated version. It's not sung as well, it's not done as well, and like, especially during the Be Our Guest song, that is like the big number in this movie. I was bored. I couldn't wait for it to be over. They dragged it on much longer than the animated version, and I was just like, I get it, they're making it, this is the big one.
Yeah. With
the fireworks, you know, and the moving plates, and I'm just like, I felt like a little kid, because as a little kid I couldn't stand musicals, because I was just like, can we get back to the story and the cool stuff? And it's just like, I felt like a little kid again. I was just like, God, when is this over?
I thought Luke Evans did a great job as Gaston. Josh Gad did great as LeFou. They even throw in a little controversy, because I know some theaters in Alabama are not showing this movie, and I'm being true on that.
It's not just a homoeroticism between him and LeFou. It's just like some of the other things that they do. No. There's a big laugh in the end. I don't want to give the big laugh away, but it's like...
Well, it's already out there. I heard it on a podcast.
Oh, well, for those of you who haven't seen it, I don't want to give anything away, but there is a big laugh that is kind of like racy homophobia kind of stuff there. And I thought it was funny.
I think it's funny. I'm completely fine with it.
LeFou and Gaston, that gets a little much, I could tell, you know what I mean? I was just like, okay, they're not just hinting at it in a lot of scenes, they're like going for it.
Yeah, but it was funny.
I respect the courage of that, but I was just like, at the same time, I was like, do they need it?
I thought it was funny. And
it's kind of like when people do versions of Hamlet. You know, there are some versions where Hamlet jumps on the bed with his mother and ends up kissing his mother in some versions. So it's like, I kind of accept it on that level.
I don't think Disney's going to go that far.
Right, but you know what I'm saying? Like, whenever a new version of the old story is done, they have to do something a little, like, the audience hasn't seen before. So how do you weigh in on it?
I give it 3.5 punches.
3.5?
Yeah.
Okay, wow, that's pretty big.
Well, there were parts of this movie that I would rate as a 5, even. There were aspects of it that I put that high up. But it's dragged down by other parts that I would put at a 2, and that one song that I would put at a 1. And so I'm going down the middle and bumping it up by half, because I did think it was overall a beautiful movie.
Yes, it was. Yeah. Very pretty to look at.
Yeah.
Especially if you like the fairy tale, like, artwork.
Which I do. Yeah. I do. Obviously. I'm a Disney nut.
Yes.
I'm a Disney nerd. Proud of it. So what do you weigh in on?
I weigh in on this at a 2. I have no interest in seeing it again. The only way I will is when my kids want to see it. But I don't know if they will listen to the music. Because my kids are picky when it comes to the music.
Well, they're also 3.
Yeah. But they're still picky. Trust me, they're still picky. But it's just like, every song I was just like, I was just okay with it. It wasn't that great. And
well, no, I think you need a larger attention span to...
Yeah, but the story dragged on too. You know, they added scenes and stuff, and it was just all like... I don't know, it felt like easily a half an hour too long. But maybe I'm just comparing it to the animated, and the animated is far better. Far better.
I'd rather watch the animated. I was not as harsh on this, and you'd think I would be because of my gripe about the costuming.
Yeah.
But I do. I make costumes, so I notice that shit.
If you want to see the movie that's got a lot of 3D, cool 3D animation, this is probably a good one to go to. Codsworth and the
that's all great.
The clock and the candle and all that stuff is great.
Yeah, well, I came in with a low expectation on the Beast. Maybe that's why I don't mind the Beast. I came in with like, this is gonna be, it's not that bad. So maybe
I guess that's the key to this whole movie. Go in with really low expectations.
I do know some girls that, and probably not just girls, probably some guys out there too, but that love the princess movies, love Belle. They'll go into this, they'll come out of it, I bet you they'll love it.
Well, the audience applauded at the end of the movie.
I think it does have an audience, but that's how we weigh in on it.
Yep. So don't forget to support her MMA fight career by clicking the link below for buying some of her merchandise.
And you can support this YouTube channel by liking, commenting, and subscribing. Let us know your thoughts on Beauty the Beast, animated, Broadway, and now the live action, that it has finally been released.
Yeah.
And we have a link below for merchandise.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, and there's right at the end when he's no longer the Beast. That moment
Again, I'm disappointed when he transforms into human.
He transforms into human, and then she says something about, "Could you grow a beard?" And he goes,
"Oh yeah."
And he snarls, and I'm just like, "Oh."